let's be real about the real contenders.
For sure. For sure.
What's good? What's good? What's good?
Hey, there's a lot of teams out here that ain't real.
It's
But
true.
before we get there, we got dropped, as y'all see Skylar's name, with some breaking news. Literally, right before the show starts, Adam Schefter announced that Dwayne Haskins, quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers, died this morning in a car
Yeah.
crash.
That's sad. Um, I mean, we're literally just
You
about to get ready and record, and like you see that news. When I saw the tweet from Adam Schefter, I'm like, there's got to be another Dwayne Haskins. Like, there's absolutely got to be because follow him on Twitter. He was signed to the Pittsburgh Steelers roster, and so I had been one of those people, and I think Trevor along too, that actually wanted to see him get a shot at potentially winning a starting quarterback job. With the backing of a head coach and a general manager, which he did not get in Washington. So he and a few other Steelers players were in South Florida over the weekend, practicing, getting chemistry down and things like that. And to see that he passed away suddenly this morning from a car crash, that's kind of hard to deal with. Rest in peace to him. Prayers to his family and his friends and things like that. That's hard to swallow for me.
Yeah, you talk about a punch in the gut to start your Saturday morning like that. That's crazy. Much to Skylar's point, I was definitely looking forward to seeing what Dwayne Haskins could offer with the Steelers backing him. I really, of course, had high hopes that he would potentially got the starting job here in Pittsburgh, but of course that won't be the case now. And for him to go out this way and just at 24 too, that's like he still had a lot of years to give in the NFL. And the future was bright for Haskins, I believe, had he gotten a shot in Pittsburgh. But just to hear that, it's sad. And I'm one of the guys that follow him on social media too. Real stand-up guy. Looked like he kind of learned from his mistakes that he made during his time in Washington and was just ready to get back to work and get to his grind on the gridiron. But man, it's just sad. So, like I said, that's a gut punch to start your Saturday. Like literally a punch in the gut.
Yeah, definitely. I think the words describe it perfectly, Trev. Punch in the gut, especially to Steeler Nation. First things first. Rest in peace to Dwayne. Prayers up for his family. For his loved ones, for everyone that didn't, think to wake up on a Saturday morning and get that message from Adam Schefter. So definitely rest in peace to him. Yeah, like outside, I was on the outside looking in. Of course, I'm not a Steelers fan, but I was really looking forward to seeing him. I thought he had the potential to start for real, especially with y'all signing Trubisky. So I was looking forward to having seeing another black quarterback in a well represented, one of the best fan bases, in the NFL, arguably the best fan base. I was definitely looking forward to seeing a black quarterback doing this thing. And of course, it's still a chance, but I think what Dwayne Haskins has gone through his career, he was looking for another shot. The Steelers were ready to give him that shot. But unfortunately, the Lord called him home. So, rest in peace. God don't make mistakes. So, let's continue this. But again, rest in peace to Dwayne Haskins.
Yep, definitely a gut punch, man. Really prayers out to his family. Still a nation, even Washington Nation, the Ohio State, OSU need to check on Sheedy. Make sure everybody is okay.
It's definitely.
Yeah. Just reminds you life is young. I mean, life is can be short. He was 24, about to turn 25 next month. So it's just another reminder, hey, it could come at any time, any point when God calls you home. So rest in peace, Dwayne Haskins, man. Definitely a gut punch. Start off on Saturday morning. But before we continue with the show, we'd be remiss if we did not promote our sponsor.
Let's Be Real Media is pleased to announce we are sponsored by Ralph Brand. Ralph culture is surrounded by skates, punk, and hip-hop art. We are looking forward to co-designing materials for this journey with them. Please visit ralphbrand.com for purchasing merch now and for future collaborations with Let's Be Real Media.
All right. So we missed last week. Took a week off. It was my birthday and just a lot of unavailability. So Final Four was last week. And we did miss our Ill of the Month. We retroactively would give it to Richard Jefferson for the month of March. For all the crazy shenanigans he, hating on Memphis, hating on Tim Duncan. That is how they post as well.
He's a California boy. He don't know nothing about Memphis. He don't know nothing about a city that has to, a blue collar silly. So we're just gonna leave it at that.
Right.
Be culture, man.
Yeah.
Ryan, what they do? What up, fellas? What they do, man? Yep, definitely tell
Yeah, man, that's crazy.
But we got with Final Four, men's and women's Final Four. Is that a fact?
Okay, y'all gonna have to probably help me out with the women's because I only watched the national championship. So there's no disrespect. It's just
the floor is all y'all's. Look, the floor is all
yeah,
y'all's.
it's been so much going on between the men's tournament, the women's tournament, and then of course this past weekend was also WrestleMania for wrestling fans out there.
Mm-hmm.
So my hands were pretty tied. So, but anyway, as far as the men's Final Four, we of course had the University of Kansas Hawks eventually win the national championship, knocking off the Tar Heels of North Carolina in a very impressive campaign in Hubert Davis's first season as head coach. Although they did blow a 15-point lead, which opened up the door for Kansas, Kansas was able to pull it off. But if there's ever a consolation prize ever in existence, Carolina can hang their heads and say that they've beaten Duke in 2 of Coach K's final games. His final game in Cameron Indoor Stadium, as well as his final game, period, as a coach for Duke University. So if there was ever a consolation prize, North Carolina can hang their heads on that. And then, of course, Kansas just made quick work of Villanova prior to the national championship game. So overall, I just want to get you guys this grade on the NCAA tournament as a whole. I guess, yeah, basically a grade. Just a grade on the tournament as a whole. Of course, we had your fair share of upsets. Of course, we had the score with St. Peter's reaching the Elite Eight as a 15 seed. Exactly. That Coach K package is pretty wild in Chapel Hill right now. But yeah, just want to get you guys' take. We can start with Skylar and just work our way around counterclockwise. Just your thoughts on the tournament as a whole and comments.
I think for the simple fact that it had such an intrigue factor. You talk about Hubert Davis and his ability to get his team together, because really there was talk about, like, I think they were on the bubble heading into not even Selection Sunday, but heading into the ACC tournament. So for them to make the run that they did, starting with the ACC tournament, and then make the run that they did in the NCAA tournament was great to see. You talked about the St. Peter's. That was a good story. Coach K, would he be able to go out in style? And say that, in his last season, he won the national championship. So you had that. You had the Blue Bloods in the Final Four. So I'm not sure what else you could expect or hope for. So the NCAA tournament to me was an A, just for the simple fact you had so many storylines, so many what ifs, so many good teams, so many good coaches as well too. So I enjoyed it so much. Kind of was, in a sense, pulling for North Carolina to win the national championship game. Not a big guy that's going to root for Kansas, especially what they did to Memphis going back, 10 plus years. So I was hoping that North Carolina was able to pull that out. Things happen, but at the end of the day, I think as a fan of March Madness in college basketball, only in the months of February and March, it went well. I would have liked to see the Tigers make a deeper run. I think they could have if they didn't run into officials and Gonzaga, but at the end of the day, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, for what I did watch, I definitely enjoyed it myself. My thing is, like, with Coach K retiring, I'm not sure if we can look it up, or I guess I can look it up after, but I'm just curious to know, like, the record between Duke and North Carolina. I'm pretty sure, like, they probably said it a couple of times throughout that game, if not, and it is what it is, but I was just curious. You got a Shark?
I think it's either 50-50 or 51-50.
I think it's
North Carolina.
50. I think it's 50 and 51 on the
Yeah.
Duke side.
It's
Oh,
either
Duke side.
no,
It's
it's North
going
Carolina side.
No, I thought it was, no on the Duke. Duke has the losing record, right?
I think
Yeah,
I think
that's
North
why I
Carolina.
got
Yeah.
Because going into the Final Four game,
It was 50-50.
it was 50 and 50. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. So it's literally this was like the game to just break everything. Like this is it.
Yep.
He lost twice. Nah, it was just funny to me. Like he lost twice. The year he was retiring to a rival. It's just like a thing with me is like seeing rivalry teams, especially like one of the biggest, if not the biggest, in college basketball. You kind of want to see who's the best. And who when you got one coach leaving, meaning that's a legacy down, a tradition down that you're gonna have to come back up. And it's like, dang, who was a better coach who had the better time? So it was just good to see. But I'm with you, Lito. Who wanted to see Kansas win? You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't even want them in the championship game, to be honest with you, especially being a Memphis fan. But it is what it is, bro. It is what it is. Yeah, I definitely want to St. Peter's to win. Of course, the Cinderella story for the year. I'm an underdog, man. Of course, I want St. Peter's to beat North Carolina, but like I said, it is what it is. It looked like a great game. And yeah.
Yep. Definitely great tournament altogether. You had the Cinderella story with the Peacocks. Love the name, St. Peter's Peacocks. Memphis finally back in the tournament. Had Tennessee disappointing again. Same old story, just different year with every all our
Rick
teams.
Barnes, yep. Same story, just a different year with Rick Barnes.
Duke, North Carolina in the Final Four for the first time ever they played in the tournament and in the Final Four in Coach K's last season. North Carolina actually beating them. Loved it. Hard to see Kansas win, especially with them supposed to be in trouble like Memphis with the NCAA. I think they're supposed to get their ruling sometime this year as well because they have more level 1 allegations than Memphis has. I think they have 5. So
it's a chance this championship didn't matter or didn't count.
Low, man.
There's a good chance that this may get snatched away. A really good chance.
Of course, us as Memphis fans, I was rooting for North Carolina. I mean, since I don't know why, since that Kansas lost, but I haven't liked Kansas since then. And at that point, I didn't necessarily dislike Kansas, but since that loss, I haven't. It's been 14 years.
And it's really no reason to not like Kansas if you think about it. They did nothing wrong.
I think I've come to the conclusion that the only thing I do like from the Kansas Jayhawks is Joel Embiid. That's it. Like nothing else. And even then, like once he went out with an injury and didn't play anymore, they ended up losing in the first round. So, but not a reason to really root for Kansas in any shape or capacity, especially if you're from Memphis. So, but overall, well, for me, I have to. Well, Sharky, what you done? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Not yet. Well, I had one last thing. I actually went down to New Orleans. I was seeing all the fans, just seeing where I didn't go to the game, but I was on Bourbon Street and just seeing so many Duke. I think I was on Bourbon Street during the Kansas Villanova game. It was so many Duke and North Carolina. A lot of Duke, more Duke though. I was just walking down Bourbon Street. It was like just a beautiful sight, nice sight to see. Nice sight to see the fans watching the game on TV, just like seeing the packed out arena again because we didn't have that luxury last year.
Okay. Well, yeah. Ultimately for me, I have to give this tournament an A as well. For all the reasons Skylar mentioned earlier, just all the different storylines that you had going into the tournament. You had Coach K's last season. You had Memphis finally getting back to the tournament for the first time in a while. Seeing what Tennessee was going to do yet again in the Rick Barnes regime. Hubert Davis' first season in North Carolina, the run that they eventually went on. So you had a lot of good storylines in the tournament, but shifting things from the men to the ladies real quick. So the University of South Carolina, the Gamecocks, shout out to Dawn Staley, knocked off the UConn Huskies in the national championship game. Again, I watched the national championship and I watched a little bit of the Final Four for both games. So don't have much to grade as far as the whole tournament is concerned, but I do understand it was a great tournament on their end as well. So the same order, just want to get you guys' grade on the women's tournament.
Yeah, for me, to be honest with you, I think I didn't pick up on it until I don't think I picked up on the women's tournament until maybe like the Elite Eight. But still, very similar to the men's tournament in terms of you had those powerhouses, you had those true, 4, 5 to 6 schools that's typically in the Elite Eight, in the Final Four. They made it yet again. So I just think, from an intrigue factor, and then also just having Dawn Staley lead her women or her team to another national championship, I think was just good to see. I think another thing that I saw that this particular championship game had 4.4 million viewers, which is the most that it's been for a national championship game for women since like 2004. So I think that was good to see in terms of, more people are starting to, watch the women's tournament more. More people are starting to be intrigued by it. So I just think it was good. Shouts to South Carolina and both UConn for putting on a really good game. South Carolina just looked dominant. My girl's name, sorry, slipping my mind. Where is it? Miss Boston. Jesus Christ, the ladies, she's an absolute cheat code in the paint. So, what she was able to do in the post. And then Destiny Henderson, she went absolutely crazy in that game too. So it was good to see. Like if nothing else, like it's a bunch of like hoopers for real. Like it's some bucket getters for the women as well too. For those that may not ever watch it, for those that like women's game is boring. I think we've been on this podcast for the last 3 or 4 years to say, in our honest opinion, and you can call a spade, the women's Final Four has been much better and much more easier to watch and better to watch than the men's in that perspective. So I enjoyed it. Shouts to Dawn Staley and her team for them winning the championship.
Good analysis, bro. We definitely been on board. Y'all for sure, especially with Savage as well, advocating for women basketball and saying that the championship for women is much better, especially like last year. I think last year in comparison, like I definitely would have rather watched the women, but this year they were kind of like, even though I didn't watch both of them, I was able to watch the highlights and just knowing the media markets on both of them were great. But one thing I wanted to say, like, shout out to Diana Taurasi and Sue Bird for the fact that they were able to talk about inches on ESPN. Shout out to them.
That was funny.
That was hilarious, by the way.
Shout out to everybody who the joke flew over everybody's head. If the joke flew over your head, shout out to you.
That was out of pocket. That was
very out of pocket. Very.
It was.
It went over somebody's head though.
Yeah, but that was a really good weekend for women's Final Four, especially the championship game. I did catch the UConn Louisville game, and Paige Becker's just seeing her gut out, coming back from that knee injury, and she just gutting it out. Still kept getting hurt every other play and coming back in and coming back up, making big shots. So that's a really nice sight to see. I did catch the end of the South Carolina Stanford game, and that one kind of went down to the wire, and South Carolina pulled it out. So going to the championship, it did kind of feel like South Carolina had them overmatched, but UConn and Gino was still 11-0 in title games, so you still had to beware. But it seemed like the name of the game or the Final Four of both Final Fours were rebounding. North Carolina dominated Duke on the boards. South Carolina dominated UConn on the boards, and I mean dominated them on the boards. And that giant, it was just like just a masterpiece on the boards.
That's why it's an important part of the game.
I ain't never seen nobody get beat on the boards that bad. That was tough.
Ooh,
that was
boy.
tough to watch.
But shout out to UConn, they still fought. Like you could have just been a blowout, right? And South Carolina started off like smacking them. And, it's UConn. You knew they're gonna make a run. They did make a run. I think they got within like 6. I think they got within 4 at one point. But every time they made a run, South Carolina, Destiny Henderson had the answer, making big shot. Leah Boston. And like Ryan just made a comment saying they're probably gonna win it next year because they are getting most of their players back. So
they sure is. They'll be right back in this situation next season. I cannot see how they're not.
Yep. So great Final Four. Looking forward to it again next year.
Yep. Yeah, and before we move on, like I think wasn't there at one point like the women's tournament and the men's tournament didn't run as close together as they did now? Like I feel like, and I may be completely wrong in that, but I just feel like maybe like when Candace Parker made her run, I just feel like that was totally separate or opposite of like when the men's tournament was going on. But I
think it was shortly after.
I think it's the day after. I think the day
after.
I think the championship was the day after. It was on Tuesday instead of the day before.
Okay, I'm completely wrong then.
Like they Final Four. I think their Final Four was Sunday. Then the championship was Tuesday. Like instead it was Friday and Sunday this time.
Gotcha. Okay, I said that for the simple fact that, like, I liked how they essentially like ran like right up against each other in terms of like when it was time for the men's Final Four, the women's was right behind it. So you was able to say like, okay, I may not be able to want to watch this game, but the women's tournament is on ESPN or it's on ESPN2 or something like that. So in case there's a blowout in the men's tournament, you can just flip and see a much better women's game. That's why I mentioned that.
All right. If I don't have anything else, overall, great tournament on both sides with the men and the women. Looking forward to it next year. Speaking of tournaments and playoffs, we are less than a week away from the NBA playoffs, and I will kick things over to my alien brother too.
Yes, sir. But before the playoffs, we got to play in. And shout out to y'all team that didn't make it in, but it is what it is. Let's talk about some teams that did make it in, man. So I got 5 teams from the East, 5 teams from the West. I just want y'all briefly contender, pretender, give you a little 2 cents, and we're gonna keep it moving. So we're gonna start in the Eastern Conference. Sharky team, number 1 Heat. Are they pretenders or contenders? Okay, we start Lito, Trev, Sharky.
I'm going to go contender for the simple fact that I just feel like, for 2 reasons. The addition of Kyle Lowry, I think, is going to make huge improvements for them in terms of them having a point guard with experience, them having somebody that can willingly take shots, set up other players on the team and stuff like that in Kyle Lowry. So I think them adding him this year is going to give them an edge that they probably didn't have over the past couple of years. Eric Spoelstra is another reason I think you should mention the Miami Heat as contenders. But then I just think if there's one team that gives the Milwaukee Bucks fits, in my opinion, it's the Miami Heat. I think still, like, if I had to pick who's going to come out of the East, for me it would still be Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks. But Lord Jesus, if there's one team I could say, yeah, that's the team that beat them, it would be the Miami Heat. So yeah, I'll go contender.
Yeah, I'm gonna go contender as well, and it's not just a matchup problem for the Bucks. They're a matchup problem for practically anybody in the East. If you just want to be honest with you, if you just want to be honest here. To Skyler's point, the addition of Kyle Lowry is going to pay dividends for the Miami Heat, and it's shown through this latter part of the season, and probably one of the reasons why they locked up the number 1 seed. I like Skyler. I still think Milwaukee comes out of the East, but if there's a team that bothers Milwaukee, it is definitely the Miami Heat. And plus they're battle tested, of course. And I think the addition of Kyle Lowry, who's an NBA champion and who knows how to win big games in the playoffs, is gonna pay some dividends for them. That first round series is gonna be key for them. And I can definitely see them potentially in the Eastern Conference Finals. So I'm going to go contender.
Y'all already know my answer. Man, give me contender, man. Bro, like y'all said, Kyle Lowry, the addition of him along with Jimmy Butler. Yeah, they had a little squabble. And, I did get a little worried, a little bit, although I know Jimmy Butler and I know Miami Heat culture, but Eric Spoelstra trying to throw the clipboard, everything kind of was like, dang. But then they beat Boston at Boston. And guess what? I don't think they lost since then. And nobody, national media talks about them when that squabble happens. They start back winning. You ain't heard a peep at all from anybody. So that's what happens. No 1 seed locked up. Another thing, Took told me be patient with Tyler Hero last year. This year, he's the key in this playoff run because that man right there.
Cuz ain't hit rim all year.
He really hasn't. Is he in the running for 6th man of the year?
Right,
he got my vote outside of songs.
He should be in the running, and he will get my vote if he is.
Yeah, he got my vote.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, contender for me.
Definitely contender for me as well. Go ahead, Trey.
No, sorry. I was just sitting there thinking about because Sharky kept mentioning the word squabble, and for those that watch Snowfall, one of the best scenes from the season so far is when he beat the old boy down, he got back in the car and said, next time teach your man how to squabble. I just ain't got over this. He beat the brakes off dude too.
He did. Speaking of Snowfall, bro, this last episode, if you ain't caught it, it's a must see.
Don't say nothing.
I ain't saying nothing. If you don't even watch the series, you need to watch the last episode.
Bet. I'm on it. I'm on it. But I got the Heat contenders as well. Y'all know how I feel about top 10 Larry. I ain't got to say too much about him. Way to be patient with Tyler Hero. That he definitely, outside of Taj Jones, he definitely gets my vote for Sixth Man of the Year. Y'all have the culture. You know, y'all are pretend trolls. You know what I'm saying? I give you that because it seemed like every other year y'all damn near fighting each other to make each other better. Once I saw the squabble, I said, again? I knew everything was gonna be straight, so that's why I ain't say too much. Like, let the internet overreact to have it they want. That's just y'all. That's just y'all culture. And even the coach Instagram, I'm like, man, he been doing this shit. So I'm like, man, let him.
Yeah, because he got to it with Dwayne Wade before, and that's why I did.
Exactly.
I was like, he got to it with Dwayne Wade before. I remember that. Like,
exactly. I remember LeBron not liking him. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I remember all this shit, bro. Like, come on, man. All right, so
I
y'all brought him up.
I think LeBron still don't like him, but that's just me. But go ahead.
Hey, there's neither here nor there, right? So we're gonna go to number 2. Y'all brought him up already. The Milwaukee Bucks. Of course, y'all know me, contender on my side.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. Contender for the simple reason that Giannis looks like I tweeted this the other day. Like trying to guard Giannis in the open floor has to be absolute hell. I feel sorry for NBA players that have to try to defend that. So Giannis is on a whole nother level this year. His ability to pull his game out in terms of being able to make jump shots, it's still not as consistent as you want it to be, but it's now something that you have to at least respect. So he's, taking in, making mid-range jumpers now, making 3-point shots. But Drew Holiday, I've seen a lot of him this particular season too. And so I think if he's healthy, if Chris Middleton's healthy, they'll make it with no issue.
It's no question there. It's not even a question. Giannis is looking like he's on a whole nother level. I don't think that to Ryan's. I don't think their depth concerns me. I think
right.
I think as
I'm
long
like,
as
okay.
yeah, I don't think their depth concerns me at all. I think they got any pretty much 1 through 12 that could possibly step in a big time situation and make some shots. We mentioned this before when the trade happened, but yeah, shout out to the Grizz for this because Grayson Allen looks like he's been a perfect fit for the Bucks. Is what he gives for them with outside shooting and things of that nature. But yeah, I'll keep it short. The Bucks are contenders. Wouldn't be surprised if they're back in the finals. Wouldn't be surprised if they repeat.
Contender, defending champs might even still be the favorite. You still got Giannis, you still got Chris Middleton, you still got Drew Holiday in the story.
And I will say this on Ryan's point though, they are a better team than last year. As far as like depth go, like they are a better team than last year. So definitely good point on that one. Let me see. We're gonna swing down to these pretending ass Philadelphia 76ers. Look, man, I ain't got to say nothing about James Harden. If you're a fan of the pod, y'all know how I feel about him. I ain't got to say a damn thing. They pretenders, and they'll probably be out in the first round. Mark my words. How y'all feel about that?
I started to put it's James Harden season for my name today. I really started to do that. But it's James Harden season. It's Doc Rivers season. Y'all know how I feel about them. They do not show up in the postseason. They do not show up when it's time for them to, put their imprint on the game. And nothing's changed for me. I feel bad for Joel Embiid though. Yeah, exactly right. He's in playoff mode a little too early for me. Bro went like 3 of 12. He's gone 3 of 12 over 4-15 several times in the past 2 to 3 weeks. So pretending for me.
Man, Joel Embiid deserves so much better, man. I free Joel Embiid again. I'm gonna continue to say it until it's backwards. Free Joel Embiid because Philly do not deserve this guy. Is it safe to say that James Harden's washed? Because boy, oh boy, like every time there's a big game, and I've known this since game 1 of the finals in 2012 against Oklahoma City, against the Heat when he was in OKC. Like, bro does not show up in big games, like at all.
What's the third commandment, Trevor? What's the third commandment?
If someone shows you who they are, believe them.
Believe
that's our third commandment. The
we got 10 years. We got 10 years of experience in this one.
Exactly. So I will not be surprised if Pascal Siakam just went bonkers and eliminated the Sixers in the first round. So yeah, it's a pretender for me, man. Simply because of James Harden. Free Joel Embiid till it's backwards because Philly don't deserve him. They don't.
just got a quick story. So, James, men and women, we both have dated somebody that you like. We've dated somebody. You broke up with them, and then they get with somebody else. You're like, I don't think you want to do that. Like, I know how that person is in a relationship. You don't want to do that. So it makes me think of when Joel Embiid was so happy that James Harden was coming to his team. I'm just like, hey, bro, you don't want them problems, bro.
I don't think he. I don't think he was happy to get James Harden. I think he was happy because Ben Simmons was gone. Let's just be.
That's fair.
Just be real.
That's fair.
We can definitely move on, but remember that deal that Sixers could have had De'Aaron Fox and Buddy Hield? I just want to throw that out there.
It didn't matter what deal they made; they were still gonna be pretenders because who their head coach is. Enough said.
Glenn Doc Rivers. Y'all lucky we don't have Troll or Nog because that show had.
But we still can do it. But we
all right, because I know
your boy should go pretty quickly.
All right, next up.
But I wasn't. Hey, I got something left to say though. Well, not so much about their pretenders. But go back to Ryan's point about Harden blowing Embiid's MVP chances. We did our MVP rankings and we kind of just like, I ain't gonna say disrespected Jokic, but we kind of just threw him out and we're like, nah, he should be MVP. I changed my tune, dog. That's MVP.
Mine
Jokic
too.
Should be MVP.
Mine too. And looking back at it, we did kind of like, but at the time, it was so many other great players like doing their thing, so it's kind of like there. But I get what you're saying. we definitely.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he got it again. My question is like, how much does the team's success kind of factor into this? Because yeah, he's without Jamal Murray. Yeah, he's without Michael Porter Jr. But if you want to be real, they really ain't just failed completely off. I mean, they were what, the 5 seed last year. They just a 6.
It's because of Jokic they ain't fell all the way out. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like you take Jokic out, they're a top 5 team competing in the lottery.
Okay. I get you that. I get
that. And that's the only reason you get my vote on that one. Like you take him away out there, they compete in the lottery.
All right. I stand corrected. Go ahead, too.
Do I want to do this one? No, screw it. The Celtics.
Interesting. We're gonna be split on this.
So I go ahead and go first. I'm gonna actually because they missing Robert Williams, ain't it? He out for the rest of the season. I think if they would have had Robert Williams, the season would have helped out. They would have been contenders to me, but without somebody manning that, they still got Al Horford though. It's like him and Williams were doing so great in the paint, like they would complement each other, right? And you still.
And I think Al Horford's out till at least the second round, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, give me contenders, man. It's bad timing. I'm a pretender. I'm sorry, pretender. Bad timing for the Celtics. I would still believe in Tatum, still believe in Brown. Love Marcus Smart, love everything they got going, but just bad timing as far as bigs go. So
I'm going to go pretender for the simple fact that it's kind of something that we've all in some form or fashion alluded to over the past couple of years, which is I'm still not a big proponent of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum playing alongside each other. I just feel like it doesn't work. Now, granted, they both have played extremely well this season. Get all of that. But it's playoff season. It's a whole new season. And so will they be able to continue to, share the ball, score efficiently, and then also be able to play defense as well too. Now, granted, the defense is playing better. The coaching, in my opinion, is better with the addition of Udoka. But to what Tu just said too, losing Robert Williams, I think Al Horford is potentially not even coming back to the second round. I don't see them being able to, play well collectively is what I'll say. So I'll go pretender.
I'm really torn between this one. The only reason I'm going contender is because they have a favorable matchup in the first round. That is the only I'm going contender. They got the Chicago Bulls, a team that they can pretty much beat. Granted, they're going to be missing Robert Williams, who's arguably their best rim protector. Al Horford is probably out to the second round, but this team can beat Chicago. I will definitely give them that. So I'm gonna go contender just for that simple reason. It's because they have a favorable matchup. Although if they were matched up with anybody else outside of probably Philly, I probably would have went pretender. But I'm going contender just because they have a favorable matchup. Like they are seated perfectly for them to make a run in the playoffs.
Yep, Trevor took the words out of my mouth. Chicago, they on a free fall. That's what they played in the first round. They keep that 3 seed. Contender for me. Also, Al Horford looks like he's going to play in the first round. All the news I'm seeing on him is he's vaccinated now because they potentially play. They almost could potentially have played Toronto, and they played Toronto. He was not going to be able to play. So they saying he's vaccinated now. So they play Toronto, he could play. So that means he'll be
I
back.
thought he had like a wrist injury or something. That's what made me say that.
He did, but also he and Jaylen Brown were like the only 2 players on the Celtics that were unvaccinated. So had they matched up with the Raptors, they wouldn't have been able to play.
Okay, I just thought because I watched the Celtics and somebody play the other day, and he didn't play, and they mentioned a wrist injury. That's what made me say that.
So it looks like he'll be back. It looks like he's day to day. That's what it looks like. So, yep. So he'd be good to go. Robert Williams probably won't be back to second round or conference finals. Now that would hurt them going along, but I put contender. They've impressed me this season. The way they turned this season around. So contender for me.
And speaking of conference finals, last but not least, my favorite player, my guy, Kevin Durant, and them Nets are a 7th seed. But are they contenders or are they pretenders?
Pretenders don't play defense. That's it. If they had any type of defense now, that's not. I'm operating or saying that with the mindset of I don't know when the hell Ben Simmons is coming back. Maybe they've been trolling this entire time. I don't even know if Ben Simmons is actually truly hurt.
He's not. I don't know.
So I'm like, bro, when did he get hurt? But if he comes back, then that at least gives them an element of somebody being able to guard the Jason Tatum, the Giannis's, the Jimmy Butlers, the people like that. So if they get him, and that's all that he has to truly focus on, then I actually give them contender. But if he's not coming back, I've seen the Nets give up 130 to the Grizzlies, and there's no John Morant. I've seen them give up 140 points, 120 points to people consistently. Yes, KD can score. Yes, Kyrie can score out of this world. I'm not knocking that, but Lord Jesus, they don't play a lick of defense either. They'll put up 80 points between them combined, but then they'll give up 95 on the other end too. So I'm going to go for a pretender because I don't know when Ben Simmons is coming back.
I'm going pretender as well, and Ben Simmons is not coming back this season. You can book that because the best way to get into basketball shape is to do what? Actually play real basketball. And Ben Simmons hasn't played a serious basketball game for well over a year now. And you're immediately telling us that he's just going to all of a sudden just come in for the Brooklyn Nets and be effective. No, that is not going to happen. That's not going to happen. The Nets don't play any lick of defense. I wouldn't even be surprised if they lost to the Cavs in the play-in just because they don't play any lick of defense. But they can outscore you. But when it's time for them to get stops, they just can't do it. So, pretenders for me.
Nah, the Cavs in the free fall. I got them winning that game. But guess who they played that first round? They win that game. The Milwaukee Bucks. They're going to the house. They're going straight to the house. Like I said, what defense, man? And last year with KD and Kyrie, they probably would have beat the Bucks. Like it literally took Kyrie get hurt, and then KD, having a half a size too big for Milwaukee to get past this series, right? But KD and Kyrie ain't saving them this year. Their defenses got worse, and I don't know how was that even possible. Like I said, Ben Simmons, I don't even know who Ben Simmons is anymore, bro. Like as far as I know, he ain't even on the roster. That's how I treat that. So, pretender for me, I give a better chance of Kawhi coming back before Ben Simmons. There's a much better shot Kawhi Leonard coming back for the Clippers than Ben Simmons. So, pretender.
I'm going contender. Y'all know me. I really can't believe what I'm listening to right now. But of course, I'll be the oddball. And I'm gonna say this. Of course, we can't compare the teams last year to each other. I get it. But Kevin Durant was an inch away from beating the Bucks by him damn self. And he has help this year. And granted, I said the Bucks got better depth than last year. True. but so do the Nets. I know y'all say the Nets don't play defense. I get it, but it's playoff time. It's time to win. Kyrie and KD got a point to prove, and they gonna prove it. I can't wait to shut y'all up. Yes, Skylar had his hand up first. I'm going to teach him.
Go ahead, Skylar.
Are you a Nets fan?
No,
He's
I'm
a
not.
KD
You know
fan.
I rock with Kyrie.
You know he rocks with
Y'all know I
KD.
rock with Kyrie.
I just wanted to
Y'all
make
know
sure.
I rock with KD and
And he
Kyrie.
rocks with Kyrie as well.
I know,
ahead.
bro. I just wanted to crack a joke.
He is a fan of hypocrites. And I say that because how you going to say early in the show that when somebody shows you who they are, believe them? And over the past 2 seasons, we've seen the Nets' inability to play defense. And yet you call them.
But still, they were literally an inch away from making the finals.
That was last season.
Makes sense. Anybody playing defense no more anyway? Come on, man.
Trevor,
Right,
he's trolling. Go ahead.
I'm
He
trolling.
is.
Did you just say he was a footstep away from
Two.
being Giannis by himself?
Two.
And he
Also
has
said they
health
don't-
issues. He has Kyrie. He has Steph Curry that actually hit a shot outside of booty ass Joe Harris.
And
He
now
got
Milwaukee-
somewhat a better defender in the paint outside of booty ass.
and now
He
Milwaukee
has better
that,
health, bro.
and now Milwaukee has that championship confidence. Yeah,
Yes.
you know what you win one.
Look,
You-
two.
I hope this is a second round series. First round series.
Look, Cap,
First round.
Skylar, and me watched the Nets firsthand. Kyrie and KD pretty much go for 40 and still give up 130 to the Grizzlies without Ja Morant and lost by double digits. And you call them contender.
So did.
It's his ability to defend the Nets with a straight face that makes this hilarious.
I'm the one that putting 2 and 2 together. Everybody
You're
just
not.
said KD
That's
was
not
an inch
2 and
away
2.
from
That's
beating
not
the
putting 2 and
Bucks
2
by
together.
himself. He was
That's
literally
not
by
that is
himself
true.
last year, bro.
I
He
give
was
you
this
all of
close
that.
to beating him.
They have the ability to outscore people, but in the playoffs, you got to get stops, dude.
But
The
see,
Nets
this
ain't
was
stopping
last year.
nobody.
Sorry,
Did
he's
the Bucks
calling
stop
these
KD
folks
last year?
contenders from one sole possession last year. One possession last year is his backing.
If KD
to
had
say-
my side shoe, we'd be talking about how the Nets will probably be in the final. Well, be in the finals last year.
But
If KD
also
had
the
your
Nets
side
had-
shoe, he wouldn't be a
Also-
basketball player.
Also, the Nets had home court advantage last year.
All right.
Hey,
All right, let's move on to the West. Move on to the West.
Oh, man. We're gonna move on, man. We'll talk about this all day, man. Because we got to get to the Western Conference. I can't wait till the Bucks and the Nets play each other for sure.
Oh, it's gonna be a good series.
That's gonna be a great series. It's gonna be great.
Series. I just.
So let's start off. Let me see who's in the next best defender. Better than booty ass Blake Griffin last year. That's all I got to say. And Bruce Brown was just jacking up shots last year, man. Moving on.
Bruce Brown wasn't doing nothing but setting screens for KD and Kyrie and catching the ball.
That
on the
nigga had
road.
20 shots one game.
Brown
KD
like
was just
that.
looking. I remember one game he had like 20 shots and KD was just looking at him like, bro, if you don't pass me this damn ball.
Bro, chill
But
out.
anyway,
Bruce Brown is the reason the fantasy basketball championship is staying with the starting 5. Put some respect.
Yes, sir.
Bruce Brown, man.
yes, sir. He was an injury replacement, but somebody like to use injuries as an excuse.
All right, let's move on to the West.
Salute you on that one, Shai. Salute you on that.
We gotta move to the West.
Let's move to the West. Let me see. We really don't have to do the Suns, but I guess the Suns, contender for sure. Got everything. Looked at the summer and said, "Wait, what are we missing?" Got everybody back. Got more pieces. Definitely a contender. Easy.
Yeah, contender easily for 2 reasons. One, I think what they were able to do in the offseason was to add depth to their bench. They are really, really good. Starting 5, but then also who's going to come off the bench and be able to provide either a spark for them offensively or defensively. I think is the thing for them. But then also just them missing out on what potentially could have been a championship for them last year. I think provides them a little bit more hunger. Will Chris Paul be healthy for another playoff run stretch again? That's going to be key. We shall see that. But I'm going to go contender for the simple fact that if they're healthy, they're more than likely come out of the West.
Yeah, it's tough to argue against Phoenix not being a contender here. NBA's best record, of course, number 1 overall seed. Ryan's point, that's the only concern. Will Chris Paul stay healthy for the entirety of the playoffs? They did basically what most contenders supposed to do. and they did it well as far as adding depth to their team. They're pretty much set at every position. They can go 10 deep. Their starters are great. They got quality pieces coming off the bench. They made some key additions in the offseason and even during this season as well. So it's tough to argue against Phoenix. It's a good chance, very good chance they could be back in the finals again this year. So I'll go Contender also.
Contender. They've been the best team in the league by 8.5 games right now. So yeah, Suns been rolling all season. Even when Chris Paul went down, they were still rolling. So, but he's going to have to stay healthy in the postseason. But right now he's healthy. So right now they're contenders.
Bad as well. Shark, I do got a trolling hour with the Suns. So if you do trolling hour today, I definitely got one. Moving on to of course the Memphis Grizzlies. Do we even gotta say it? Do we even gotta say it?
I mean, it's the same thing with the Suns, so let's just get it over with.
Of course, they're contender, man. All like I said, 18-2 without your star player. Chemistry matters. Everybody's saying we're a young team, but we've been together longer than most of the teams in the Western Conference anyway. So, hey, contender in my book.
Yeah, contender for 3 quick reasons. 1, John Morant. I think that's enough reason within itself. 2, just as much as we talked about the Suns' ability to go deep with their roster, I think the Grizzlies too was exactly to just say being able to go 18-2 without John Morant, your best player, says a lot actually. Whether it's Tyus Jones, DeAnthony Melton, Desmond Bain, Kyle Anderson, Xavier Tillman, Zaire, whomever, like each one. I feel dumb, Jesus Christ. I think if nothing else, let's just say hypothetically speaking, 2 Grizzly starters just not doing well. I think they have the ability to they have 2 players off the bench that could, could cancel that out and give them a spark. So that, and I think one thing that people probably won't mention is the FedEx Forum is going to be popping this year. Like I tried to get home tickets for the Grizzlies playoff games, and Jesus Christ, there was nothing like after a day. So if nothing else, we know how Memphis fans can be when they are behind the Grizzlies. If nothing else, go back and check how the era was when Zach Randolph and Marcus Hall and Tony and Mike Conley was here. Go back and watch those videos for those who have not seen them. The FedEx Forum is going to be popping. So I think when teams come in here, that's going to be something they got to worry about.
ESPN did have us ranked the number 1 team in the NBA as far as like fan bases and ticket sales and chemistry and everything. Like at that time, ESPN did have us number 1. So definitely go check that out.
Yeah, everything we just said about the Phoenix Suns, the exact same thing can be said about the Memphis Grizzlies. They're definitely contenders in my book. Their ability to go 10 deep as well. We know the record without John Morant. I just want to say I'm tired of this whole Grizzlies are a young team as an excuse. Like we didn't just see a young Oklahoma City Thunder team about 10 years ago in their second season fully assembled get to the conference finals, and then the very next year get to the NBA finals. So why not Memphis? Why not now? So Memphis is definitely a contender when fully they can match up with just about anybody in the entire NBA. And we have John Morant, so it's pretty much self-explanatory there. So Memphis definitely a contender there.
And kind of same as Phoenix, contender, as long as our star point guard is healthy. John Morant, contrary to what the rest of the world believes, I don't think Grizzlies ain't winning the playoff series without Ja. Regular season and playoffs are 2 different stories. It's just the truth. You're going to need John Morant in the playoffs. So as long as John Morant's there, we are contenders.
It's funny you say that after we talk about the Nets, but that's neither here nor there.
What they got to do with the Nets?
No, I'm saying you said the preseason, the postseason and season are 2 different things. You know what I'm saying? I listen.
The Nets.
I mean, it was on the postseason. The Nets.
About postseason. Defense. It's
too early to be trolling, bro. It's too early to be trolling.
All right, let's keep it moving. Let's go, man.
Be trolling.
All right, so a team that got chemistry issues in my eyes and will affect me in a personal way, the Golden State Warriors. Of course, they're still contenders, but if I watch the Warriors games and chemistry issues, it's gonna bite them in the ass in the later rounds. Of course, they get past the first round, but it's that second round that I'm kind of worried about because it's only one basketball. Steph Curry coming back, and when he was playing with Klay, still trying to get used to everything. The body language. I'm a huge, nonverbal communication, got a body language that the Warriors were playing with. I wasn't feeling it. So hopefully something changed in the playoffs, like you said, Sharky, postseason and regular season different. But what y'all feeling about the Warriors?
This one's kind of tough. For exactly what you just said. Like, they can be contenders because yes, they may have chemistry issues now, but this team, at least the big three, have played together for years and years and years, and we've seen how well they play when they're together, when they're healthy. The thing about it is, which could also lead to them being pretenders, is they ain't been healthy all season together. So it's just a matter of if the team's going to be healthy or not. So I think they will be. I believe in Steph Curry. I believe in Klay Thompson. I believe in Draymond Green, and I believe in Steve Kerr when he has those three people with him as well too. And I think Jordan Poole is coming along well. So I think that they have somewhat of a bench too. So I'm going to go with contenders. So they're actually my last contender.
Yeah. I'm going to go contenders as well, just solely because of those three. What bothers me, of course, along with injuries and along with their chemistry issues, is basically everybody on the roster that's not Draymond Green, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson, because none of those guys have been battle tested, quote unquote, in the playoffs. So who knows how they're going to play? Because I ain't. Say what? Oh yeah, Kevon. He's a rotational player.
He got a ring.
He's a rotational player. Moving along.
He's a starter.
He's a rotational player. Moving right along. So outside of Draymond, Steph, and Klay, I'm more concerned with the rest of the roster because none of them have been battle tested in the playoffs, except Looney because he's a rotational guy. We don't speak that name on this podcast anymore. And if he ain't making corner threes,
I know about Iggy, but now
exactly. But I just can't. I'm still gonna go contenders because I know fully healthy when I know what Steve Kerr can do and I know what these guys can do. So they could be very dangerous in the playoffs. So I'm gonna go contender.
That sounds like a repeat record. Same as the Suns and Grizzlies. If Steph Curry, the star point guard, once again, is healthy, they're contenders. If Chris Paul, John Moran, and Steph Curry just play outside, I'll rely on them for contender status, but contender.
All right. We got a team that I didn't think was going to be top 4 in the Western Conference, but the Mavericks. What y'all got about the Mavericks? Contenders or pretenders?
Only pretenders, just for the simple fact that I can't see them beating any of the top 3 seeds in a Game 7 series. I just can't see it. Granted, Dallas in some form or fashion has had the Memphis Grizzlies numbers, but I still think this is a different Grizzlies team. So I don't believe or trust the Mavericks' ability to beat a healthy Golden State. I don't see them being able to beat a healthy Grizzlies team, and I don't see them being able to beat a Phoenix Suns team that's healthy. Even if one of those teams isn't healthy, I still don't see them being able to beat the other two. So pretender in those regards. But it's a good team now.
Getting rid of Kristaps was probably the best thing the Mavs could have done this season. And just like the Celtics in the East, I'm only in contender because they have a favorable matchup against a free-falling Utah Jazz team. Speaking of chemistry issues, who has some serious chemistry issues, and see a lot of changes in Utah in this offseason. So be ready for that. I think they can win this matchup against Utah, but against any of the top 3, I just don't see Dallas being able to win 4 top 3. Contender only because they have a favorable matchup. That's the only reason I'm going contender.
I would go with pretender. I think they do finally get out the first round. I think they could potentially pull an upset on any rather it's Golden State. Well, yeah, rather it's Memphis or Phoenix. They could potentially pull off a second round upset, but that's about it. So that's pretender for me.
They'd actually match up with Phoenix in the next round. So if they get past it, that's pretty much good night season for the Mavericks. So
yeah. But I said or in case because they still can get the 3 seed. They like because they have a tiebreaker over Golden State. So Golden State.
Oh, they sure do. Yep, you're absolutely right. They sure do.
And also with the Dallas, Trev, you brought up the matchup. So Utah and Denver are actually tied right now. They both have a game apiece, so it actually could change. But the Jazz are playing the Trailblazers. The Nuggets are playing the Lakers. So they both could easily win, which probably mean the standings stay the same. So just wanted to throw that out there. With me for Dallas, I think it's based on a matchup. Like they definitely could get past Utah for sure, and we definitely gonna talk about Utah. Denver, I don't think they'll be Denver in the 7-game series. So for me, I guess I'd have to say pretender. But the Mavericks are gonna be a team that I have my close eye on for next season as well, because I got something that I want the Mavs to do next season. But we'll talk about that in a later episode for sure. So speaking of the Jazz, the Trap Jazz, chemistry issues to the fullest. If they had a chemistry bar, it'd be probably 10%, if that. Contenders or pretenders for the Utah Jazz?
Pretender. I think if Donovan Mitchell could request a trade yesterday, I think he could. I think he would. They're pretender. It's a wrap. Good night season for them. It's a wrap.
Yeah, I planted the seed. I can't remember if it was on here or on Starting Five, but I planted the seed like months ago that Donovan Mitchell was not happy in Utah, and to like really, really pay close attention to how things unfold in Utah. Between him and Gobert, one of those two was gone. I think more than likely it's going to be Gobert, who's probably going to get moved because there's rumors being around that Gobert could be moved via trade in this offseason. But yeah, I'm going pretender as well. It's just too many chemistry issues. Too much has been revealed about them. Yeah. It's a lot going on in Utah, but pay close attention though. Like I said, Gobert or Mitchell, one of those two will be gone, if not both, in the offseason.
Yep, along with Quinn Snyder. So give me a pretender. They're going to go ahead on out in the first round and go ahead and hit the honeymoon this offseason. Gobert looks like he might be going to Dallas or Charlotte. I don't know, whoever these teams that are interested in him. Quinn Snyder might be going to the Lakers, per rumors, but we'll see what all happens this offseason. But it's over with for Utah. It's been a nice run for him. Well, I guess a nice run. It's been a run for him.
So they beat us, and that was it. That was a run.
Literally.
And what sucks about this Jazz team is because from top to bottom, like honestly, in my opinion, this is probably their best roster they've ever had. Not ever had, but they had in the last few years for sure, since the Donovan Mitchell era. Like top to bottom, this roster, they should be doing a lot better than what they are. But I think things started to go downhill really when Mike Conley get in, and that's no disrespect to Mike Conley, but Donovan Mitchell is somebody that's used to having the ball in his hands. You kind of put him off ball. I'm not sure if that's the kind of player he wants to be, especially with this Jazz team. Rudy Gobert, shout out to giving the world COVID, but we back now, we outside. If I'm the Jazz, I'm definitely looking to get rid of Gobert first and easily, but gotta keep Donovan Mitchell. City-wise, the city of Utah is definitely growing, and you gotta have something for them. So you gotta keep Donovan Mitchell, but D-Wade is in that front office. So just saying.
We don't know how much say he has in their front office, but
that's true. That's true.
we don't know how much say he has in their front office, but still.
But you know him, he at heart anyway, so he probably just trying to get the experience so he can head back home. But
yeah,
let's see. And of course, the last thing we're talking about would be the Denver Nuggets. Of course, we went 6, but Denver Nuggets. Got to get your opinion on the Denver Nuggets. Contenders or pretenders?
Ain't no love for the Toronto Raptors in the East. I'm playing. You did top 16.
They make it. They'll be Philly. They be Philly. They good with me. Be Philly. They good with me. Go Toronto. Go against Tampa. Go Tampa.
Pretenders for the Nuggets. If you for me, not sure when Jamal Murray's coming back. Not sure when Michael Porter Jr. is coming back. Even if they were coming back, I still don't see them. Potentially, if they had all those pieces back, plus with how Jokic is playing, then maybe they could be a contender. But that's too many ifs that you have to worry about this late in the season. So I'm going to go pretender.
It's sad to say, but we're definitely going pretenders here just because of the fact that they're not fully healthy. And unless they're matching up probably with the Mavs. I can't see them getting out of the first round against in a 7-game series against Golden State, who could potentially be fully healthy and have Steph, Draymond, and Clay in a full swing. So Jokic has had a great MVP campaign, but I just don't see that translating well into the playoffs.
Yeah, Pretender. Even Murray and Porter Jr. come back. They've been out the whole season. When there's something to be said about rest. The same thing if Kawhi come back. He's been out for a year. Like, yeah, that's the reason why why the Bulls didn't win when Jordan came back late this season. Like, it's something to be said about sitting out a long time. So, yep, Pretender.
I'm gonna say Pretender as well. Based on really like their last 20 games. Like if you go look and see who the Nuggets play, any competition, any team over 500 they've lost to. And this is the time when really, you're supposed to be forming who you are. You're supposed to be getting together. Getting everything together for to make things happen. And the Nuggets, like I said, they're a great team. Jokic MVP, but Trev, you hit it right on the head, bro. It's the regular season. They're a great regular season team, but I'm not sure how they get past anybody in the first round. So I'm gonna definitely go Pretender with that. And that is it. I'm sure we're talking play-ins next week. Or okay.
But no, we off next week.
We off next week because we'll be out. So
okay. Well, 2 teams y'all got in the play-ins real quick for the East and the West. What teams y'all got in?
For the East, I'll go. Brooklyn would get the 7th seed. And give me the Hawks to get the 8th seed.
Okay.
And then for the West, Clippers to get 7. San Antonio gets 8.
Agreed. I think it's hard to go against that 4. So to keep it short, I'm going to go with that same 4 as well.
I think Minnesota hungry. Give me Minnesota 7, Clippers 8. Nets 7, Hawks 8.
So just to get this straight, Brooklyn will have to go against Charlotte.
No,
Brooklyn right now is matched up with
Atlanta.
Cleveland. They got to beat Cleveland one time.
Or Atlanta. Yeah.
They got to beat Cleveland one time to get the 7th seed.
Yeah.
And then Cleveland will match up against the winner of the Hawks and the Hornets, which I think the Hawks will win that game. And I think the Hawks will win the last play-in game to get the 8th seed.
Yeah, Atlanta still can get the AC. They have the tiebreak over Cleveland if Cleveland loses last game.
So give me Brooklyn 7. I think the Hornets will beat the Hawks, but I think Cleveland will beat the Hornets. And I want to be so wrong because I actually want to put Charlotte. You know what? Charlotte in the playoffs, bro. Charlotte.
I love to see LaMelo in the playoffs.
Charlotte number 8. Charlotte number 8.
I love to see LaMelo in the playoffs, but I just can't see it.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, but their defense is like the only thing keeping them.
They got the worst defense in the league. They worse than even.
Yeah.
All right,
I know Scott confused.
Charlotte beat Atlanta, but Cleveland is gonna beat Charlotte for the 8th seed.
Scott, I already know what you think.
I don't know, man. I'm just telling you about Charlotte. All
right, who you got for the West?
West gonna keep the same. Minnesota and Clippers.
Minnesota and who?
The Clippers. Yeah.
The Clippers. So you got Minnesota 7 and the Clippers 8.
Yeah.
Got it.
Scott, what you laughing at, man?
I'm not going to continue to let you troll me, so I'm not going to say it. Continue with.
Why am I trolling?
You're worried about Charlotte's defense, but you're not worried about Brooklyn's defense. That makes sense.
All right.
Let's move on, man.
Right.
Your boy, man, got a video clip to show. Pretty sure everybody's seen this on Sunday. So here we go.
Russell and Sierra. Yeah, Russell ain't had that bread. Sierra ain't gonna be with him. Russell square. Russell square. Sierra had she has a good situation, but you gonna leave Future and get with Russell Wilson. The thing is, I think that's what you gonna leave Future and get with Russell Wilson. Like, it's a type. Everybody got a type. Yeah, that's true. Everybody has a type. You're going to leave Future and get with Russell Wilson. He's so goddamn square, and I love him on the field. He's a square. Shannon, he's a king square.
Shannon, you go from this level of toxicity, you just want something stable. You want the guy that was sitting with that girl with that big old mouth at the draft that was laughing, and you knew she deserved to be with him.
Goofball?
Yeah, you want that guy.
You want to get with goofballs,
You want the guy that told me, you know what? I was praying and God told me to go save her. That's what the man told me to my face. But even with all,
he bored. Channing Crowder bored or not?
He's definitely bored. Skylar, go ahead. Because I know
He's
you got
about as bored as you can be. Like Ryan Clark in my opinion, Ryan Clark did and said well. I think everybody has their type. Everybody has a certain type of person that they want to be with. If a cornball is what Sierra likes, hell, that's what she likes. If she doesn't like how Future was, which I hope there ain't a bunch of women that like how Future is, because Future out here shooting up everybody. But if being a cornball is a bad thing, sign me up to being a cornball. I'm cool with that. I also don't appreciate how people in the media, former NFL players, NBA players, like speak on their relationship. Like I think that's completely ugly. Like I think you shouldn't, like, as a married person, you shouldn't be commenting on other married people's relationship when it has nothing to do with you.
100% right on the money there, Skylar. Like, why is this guy speaking on a whole nother marriage? And then again, which situation did you really want to go to? You want to go to a guy with 7 different baby mamas, or you want somebody that has a stable home that's on the come up as far as an athlete and has money on top of that? You're gonna go with the stable situation. Like, let's just be real. Like, Channing Crowder, you didn't learn from Travis Henry, who had the same situation as Future with 9 children with 9 different women. Come on now, you should have watched, bro. Let's just be real here. But yeah, it pains me that we as men is like down so bad. Like, instead of like tearing down Russell just because he's not quote unquote like one of us, basically, like, we should be bigging that man up because he even bags here. Like, you should be happy for Russ at this point in nature. Like, all that's telling me is that you just wish that you was in that position. That's all what that is telling me. And it's telling me you probably shot the shot at her and she curves you like a Clayton Kershaw curveball for the Dodgers. So
he's hurt as hell, huh?
Yeah, he's hella hurt right now. So it's like, dude, worry about your own house. Like, Russ hasn't done anything but just play football, stay out of harm's way, and just have a loving wife and kids. Like, everything that you would want a man to do in a marriage, in a household, he has done. Like, that should be like textbook of what everybody should be striving to be. Go ahead. I'm done.
My wife compares me to Russell Wilson all the time, so I think he bored. And if I'm a square, so be it. She said I'm square though. So hey, Channing Crowder. Hey, I love social media though, man, because it's like when everybody, normally doing the Russell Future debate, I do see a lot of crazy people be on Future side, but on this case, everybody's on Russell's side. Everybody's like, man, hey, sign me up to be a square. Everybody was talking about I was trying to think. Oh, they brought up Channing Crowder, like some old pictures of him.
Yeah. I'll say this, and I'll admit this. I used to troll Russell Wilson a lot with the Future shit when he played bad, but I mean, just shining on his relationship, like, that's just crazy.
Exactly, in that case. So yeah. Then he also, Channing Crowder said he don't sell before every game. It's a quote out there that he said that when he played, so he played in the field, he played for the Dolphins, I think, and yeah. So that's the type of person who's coming out saying this.
Man, they let anybody on TV nowadays. It is what it is. Channing got a crush on Future.
I don't even think it's that. I want to know, like, what is this like infatuation with Future? Don't get me wrong, he makes great music. Don't get me wrong. Is the lifestyle that Future lives, having 7 different baby mamas, being able to smash any woman you want, is that what makes you a man in today's society? Because if that's the case, I'm definitely a cornball too. Sign me up. I'll take my current marriage right now over Future's lifestyle. So it is what it is. Exactly. So why is you even what?
Honestly, you sound hurt from maybe shooting his shot at Sierra before he's married.
I'm telling you.
Because if I can be a cornball with a couple $100 million in my pocket, Yeah, I'd be the president of the cornball club. Damn it, I'll start a league if I had to.
Look, according to my boy who out there in Denver, man, they treat these folks like the Obamas out there already. He ain't even step on the football field.
Crazy.
I think that's what getting people upset. Like you're a great person. You're great. You know, you're in a great marriage. You know, with a beautiful woman who upgraded them, in my opinion. But they both said it before. My thing is with Russell Wilson is that like he's sticking to his morals, and that's something that you don't find a lot of in anybody nowadays. Like I'm having the pleasure to talk to 3 married guys who know what being a husband is all about, the sacrifices that it make, and Russell Wilson is doing a damn good job. Of course, a couple years ago, I trolled or whatever with him and Sierra, and that's what I do. I troll sometimes, but overall, y'all know it came from a good heart, good intentions. Like Russell Wilson and Sierra, great, beautiful family. Something that I aspire to have, definitely. But when you got guys like Shannon, calling him out and saying, he'd rather be with Future or whatever, women should be with Future, whatever. It's like, it's a maturity thing. I think that's what it boils down to. It's a maturity thing. Like, do you want to be with a guy, one of the biggest rap stars in the world for sure, 7 big mamas, or do you want to settle down with a guy with a broke down, beat down wallet who says that I'll be consistent for you?
I was just about to play that video.
Come on now. It's all maturity, man, and it's not just in men, but in women as well. You know what I'm saying? But and I think the point that he was trying to make though is like there are a lot of celebrities who are ugly as hell who don't have this and that, but do got a bag, so it does put them above this, the average man. I think that's the point he was trying to make. But he seemed like a flat out hater with the rest of the statement. So
Sierra's only dated celebrities, so that's
that's.
Hey man, if you're talking about sports, keep sports and family separate, bro. Like Sierra ain't did nothing to no damn body, Russ ain't did nothing to no damn body. So
exactly.
Keep it separate. Keep it separate. But I actually do have a year board, actually, because it pissed me off that the fact that Sam Darnold think that he's done something to deserve a starting job in the NFL. he in his words, he's done enough to be in the NFL. He's shown enough to be QB1. You bored as hell, my guy, because the first 3 games you had me feeling good last season, and after that it was like, what you bro?
Nope, I guess that was enough.
Or the game against the Cowboys, I guess that was enough.
And we lost that one.
I guess that was enough. That game
he won. He won.
Pretty good game.
He wants to. He saw ghosts. He definitely bored.
Exactly.
He's bored. I had to bring that up, man. My fans still don't know who we gonna be starting next year, but that's whatever.
Yeah. All right, Trevor. You had trolling off real quick.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it real quick. Trolling all. Doc Rivers will be the coach of the Lakers next season.
On that note, I'm leaving. Goodbye. I'm leaving. Goodbye. Bye. Y'all have a good weekend. Bye.
Right.
Bye.
Yeah, he left for real.
He left for real.
He just said he had to go. So he just said he had to get off in a second. So
yeah, he did, but that was
perfect timing. Go ahead.
That was perfect timing. But yeah, trolling now. Doc Rivers will be the coach of the Lakers next season.
Bro,
Lakers?
I'm going to say troll, but I want it to be a now. I just want to see I just want to see LeBron, get a choking coach and losing it, actually make it back to the playoffs and lose next year.
Yeah, because we know for sure there's going to be 2 coaching vacancies in the NBA. We know Frank Vogel's out in LA. We also know Quinn Snyder is out in Utah, and based on I think it was the game against the Pistons in which James Harden struggled, and they eventually ended up losing that game. A lot of speculation, Doc was taking shots at James Harden. And we know how James Harden feels. When James Harden don't get his way, some got to go. And if they lose in this first round playoff series, like we all are kind of predicting against the Toronto Raptors, there's a good chance Doc could be out of there as coach in Philly. And I do believe the Lakers would be the first team calling him. So that's my reasoning.
I'm going to say troll for the simple fact that Philly's front office have shown that they're mediocre time after time after time. And I think that he's still going to be on the Sixers next year. Weird feeling. Don't ask me why, but the front office for the Sixers, they're mediocre. They are okay. They got lucky with Joel Embiid. The whole Ben Simmons fiasco should have been avoided because he told y'all last year that he wouldn't want to play for y'all, and you waited till now to trade him. I mean, this whole thing could have been avoided. But I do think he'll be back next season for sure.
Okay.
Now you know Daryl Morey. He chooses between Doc Rivers and James Harden.
Exactly.
Of course, then.
Yeah, Daryl Morey choosing James Harden every single time. So.
Good point, Shark. Good point.
But that was a good one, Trevor. That's a good one because that's like legit, like rumors about that one. And
yeah,
that'd be funny if that happens though. But
Lakers, that's funny as hell.
Just for another episode. Remember to subscribe and watch us on YouTube every Saturday morning. Listen to us in the podcast platform, Spotify, Apple, Google, Stitcher, you name it. And remember to follow us on Twitter at LBR_media. And catch us at Starting Five. This week we'll be out on Tuesday. So see you next time. Anybody got anything else?
Make sure you learn how to squabble.
It's so powerful.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, peace.
All right. Peace.